Something rare is stirring in the sky on August 15th, and it won't whisper, it will roar. Venus Trine Lilith is not just another alignment, it is a portal, a surge of energy that awakens hidden desires, suppressed emotions, and the wild, untamed parts of who you are. This is the kind of force that can pull you into clarity or chaos, depending on how you meet it. For those who move through life without awareness, it can feel overwhelming. Old patterns, secret longings, even emotions you buried long ago may rise suddenly, as if the universe itself is testing your inner balance. But there is a way to navigate it without being swept away. Shaolin teachings remind us to observe, to anchor ourselves in breath and presence, to face what arises with calm rather than fear. In this video, you will discover 7 essential truths about this dark feminine portal. You will learn how to recognize the shadows it illuminates, how to transform raw emotion into power, and how to protect your energy while stepping fully into your authentic self. We will explore lesser-known aspects of this alignment, secrets that rarely make it into the headlines, hidden energies that can shift your relationships, your creativity, and your inner strength if approached with mindfulness and discipline. By the end of this video, you will not only understand the intensity of this moment, but also how to harness it for growth, mastery, and personal transformation. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire, where we turn celestial events into lessons for the mind, heart, and spirit. Subscribe now and join us, because the path to true power begins when you step fully awake into the forces around you. There is a part of you that moves in silence, the corners of your mind you rarely visit, the truths you tuck away because they feel too sharp, too real. On August 15th, this portal will call those hidden places into the light. Venus Trine Lilith does not ask gently, it demands recognition. What you have denied, ignored, or hidden from even yourself may rise now, restless and insistent. Shaolin practice teaches that avoidance is a weight. We cannot grow by turning from what unsettles us. In the monastery, a student is guided to face discomfort directly, the ache of the muscles, the sting of the mind, the whisper of fear. Each movement, each breath becomes a mirror. The discipline is simple but not easy. Observe without judgment, move without hesitation, breathe through the tension rather than away from it. The energy of Lilith does something similar to your inner world. It stirs the suppressed old resentments, secret longings, fears that have shaped decisions in subtle ways. You may feel a pull to resist, to distract yourself, to tell a story that avoids truth. The Shaolin way is different. You sit with it, you watch it, you allow clarity to flow over what is raw and unsettling. This is not about punishment or shame, it is about mastery. To see yourself fully, even the shadowed parts, is to remove the power of hidden fears over your choices. It is the beginning of freedom, the freedom to act with awareness rather than reaction. The portal does not create these shadows, it reveals them, and in their revelation lies your chance to meet yourself fully, with the calm, unshakable presence of someone who has trained not just the body, but the mind and the heart. Each emotion, each impulse becomes a teacher. What once felt dangerous or forbidden can now be recognized, understood, and transformed. The shadow is no longer something to flee from, it is a part of the path. The energy rising now does not arrive quietly. Emotions long held beneath the surface awaken with a force that can feel like fire in the veins. Desire, fear, anger, longing, they are not signs of weakness, they are raw fuel. Left unchecked, they can scatter the mind, push the body into tension and cloud judgment. But approached with awareness, they become the very force that drives transformation. Ancient traditions understood this. In the Shaolin halls, students are taught that energy moves through the body, through the mind, and through intention. Anger is not simply anger, it is movement. Fear is not merely fear, it is information. Each surge can be harnessed, directed, and transformed. The difference lies in how one meets it. Mindfulness is the key, observing without reacting, feeling without being carried away, noticing the rise and fall of sensation and thought as if watching clouds drift across the sky. This portal magnifies what lies within, offering an invitation to turn chaos into clarity, intensity into focus. Each stirred emotion becomes a teacher. Frustration can reveal where boundaries are needed. Longing can uncover what your heart truly seeks. Restlessness can point toward what has been neglected. The practice is simple in principle but precise in effect. Breathe, observe, and allow the energy to pass through, letting insight take shape where confusion once reigned. Discipline is not punishment, it is refinement. By training the mind to meet emotion without surrendering to it, one transforms inner turbulence into purpose. The same force that could unravel a day or cloud a decision becomes a current that propels you forward, fuels creativity, and strengthens presence. In this way, the storms of Venus and Lilith do not overwhelm, they illuminate. They reveal the hidden power within, waiting for those willing to meet it with calm, steady eyes and a steady heart. There are moments when the world presses in, when people, circumstances, or even your own thoughts push against the boundaries you have set. Lilith's energy does not respect half measures, it challenges the spaces you have allowed to be invaded, the compromises you have made out of fear or habit, and the manipulation you may have overlooked in the name of peace. It is an unflinching mirror, asking whether you truly know where you begin and end. In the Shaolin tradition, mastery begins with presence. A student learns not only to move with strength, but to hold stillness with equal power. Boundaries are not walls built from anger or avoidance, they are lines drawn from clarity, discipline, and self-respect. Knowing your line means understanding what you will accept, what you will transform, and what you will release without internal struggle. It is the quiet power of someone rooted in awareness, unmoved by provocation or distraction. Lilith's influence now makes these lessons visible. Encounters that once left you unsettled may stir discomfort, revealing where you have allowed compromise to slip in unnoticed. The key is not to react impulsively, but to meet each situation with calm discernment. Observe the pressure, recognize the invitation, respond with intention rather than impulse. Discipline in this context is freedom. When you hold your boundaries with steady presence, you conserve energy, protect clarity, and cultivate respect from yourself first and from the world second. Resistance becomes unnecessary because there is no uncertainty. Your line is known, felt, and unshakable. Lilith does not punish those who are prepared. She simply exposes the unsteady, inviting mastery to emerge. Through mindful observation and unwavering respect for your own space, you transform intrusion into insight. The challenge becomes an opportunity, manipulation into understanding, and compromise into conscious choice. Strength is no longer raw or reactive, it is measured, present, and deeply rooted. Desire often arrives softly at first, a spark, a whisper, a pull towards something that promises pleasure or satisfaction. Venus embodies this energy, the magnetic force that draws attention, ignites longing, and awakens the senses. It is beautiful, seductive, and compelling. Yet beneath its shine there is a lesson waiting, one that Lilith carries with quiet intensity: truth. Lilith pierces illusions, revealing what lies beneath charm, glamour, or fleeting attraction. She asks whether what we reach for truly nourishes the soul, or merely excites the surface. Discernment is the bridge between these energies. It is the ability to see without being blinded by temptation, to feel without being carried away by impulse. In Shaolin practice, students are taught that clarity comes from steady observation, not haste. Every movement is deliberate, every breath counted, every action measured. This discipline cultivates a mind that notices subtle differences, the shine of appearance versus the weight of truth, the allure of desire versus the integrity of choice. The portal of Venus Trine Lilith highlights where discernment is most needed. Temptations may appear irresistible, but beneath them lie insights into your own patterns, attachments, and values. The moment becomes an invitation to pause, to breathe, to question: does this align with who I am? Does it honor my energy? The clarity gained is not harsh or cold, it is calm, deliberate, and deeply empowering. Desire, when met with presence, transforms from a fleeting pull into guidance. Attraction becomes a teacher, revealing what truly matters, and liberation comes from knowing the difference between what excites the surface and what sustains the self. The strength of this discernment is quiet but unwavering, a reflection of mastery cultivated through observation, patience, and unwavering presence. Through this lens, pleasure and liberation are not opposing forces, they coexist, balanced by the steady clarity of an awakened mind. There is a quiet storm within, a current of energy that stirs when Venus and Lilith align. It is not a call to chaos, but to creation. Hidden talents, unspoken ideas, and dormant visions awaken now, demanding attention. The mind may feel restless, the body alive with impulses, and the heart brimming with possibilities. This is the raw material of creativity, untamed, potent, and waiting for direction. Ancient masters understood the value of channeling such energy. In Shaolin training, the body and mind are honed not for reckless force, but for precise expression. Every movement, every breath is a form of art, a manifestation of discipline and intention. The lesson is clear: intensity without focus dissipates, but intensity with guidance becomes power. The energy that could scatter into fleeting indulgence, distraction, or excess transforms into something enduring when it is consciously directed. This alignment offers the same opportunity. Every surge of desire, every flash of insight can be turned into movement, creation, or reflection. Painting, writing, meditative practice, martial training, or any form of deliberate work becomes a vessel for this energy. The more one moves with purpose, the more the internal current solidifies into skill, understanding, and self-expression. It is also a lesson in patience. Creativity is not a momentary spark to be consumed. It is a river to be navigated. Discipline does not stifle imagination, it amplifies it, shaping raw impulses into forms that endure, inspire, and transform. The portal illuminates hidden capacities, but mastery is required to translate them into something meaningful. By honoring the energy instead of fleeing from it, each thought, gesture, and effort becomes a reflection of presence. The intensity that might overwhelm the untrained mind becomes a tool, a teacher, and ultimately a mirror of one's own inner mastery. What once felt scattered now converges, revealing the depth and power of a mind that has learned to move with intention. Discomfort is not an enemy, it is a doorway. The energy rising now may stir unease, tension, or uncertainty, and the natural impulse is to escape, to push away what feels heavy or unfamiliar. Yet the wisdom of ancient practice teaches something different. Transformation does not come from fleeing. True change arises when presence meets discomfort without judgment, when the body, mind, and spirit learn to breathe with what is rather than against it. In Shaolin training, students are taught to sit with the body's strain, to remain steady even when muscles scream or the mind wanders. Pain and tension are not obstacles, they are signals, messages carrying insight, if one has the patience and clarity to receive them. Meditation, in its simplicity, is a mirror to this principle. Sitting quietly, noticing the rise and fall of sensation and thought, allows energy to flow naturally rather than being blocked or resisted. What feels intense or threatening is often precisely what holds the lesson. This portal amplifies that lesson. Emotions, desires, and impulses may surge suddenly, pressing against the edges of control. Running from them scatters power and clouds judgment. Sitting with them, even for a few breaths, allows their energy to be understood, integrated, and transformed. Each pulse of discomfort becomes a teacher, each wave of tension a signal to deepen presence rather than resist. Through this discipline, mastery unfolds quietly but profoundly. Awareness becomes steady, choices become deliberate, and energy that once overwhelmed now moves with clarity and purpose. The path is not about eliminating difficulty, it is about cultivating the inner strength to remain present, to observe without reacting, and to allow transformation to emerge naturally. What once felt like chaos gradually becomes a rhythm, a current that carries insight, resilience, and self-mastery. In stillness, the mind discovers its power. Desire arrives in many forms, some quiet, some insistent, some almost urgent in their pull. Venus draws attention to what calls to the senses and the heart, while Lilith exposes the deeper currents beneath the surface. Together, they illuminate a subtle but essential distinction, the difference between true desire and compulsive craving. One aligns with purpose, growth, and authentic expression. The other feeds habit, fear, or fleeting satisfaction. Ancient traditions understood this as a cornerstone of mastery. In Shaolin practice, students learn to observe impulses without being swept away by them. Every motion, every breath is measured. Every instinct is examined. Craving is recognized not as weakness but as energy that can either be transformed or misdirected. Desire, when met with mindfulness, becomes a guide rather than a trap. This alignment intensifies awareness of what lies beneath surface urges. A sudden attraction, a longing, or a restless impulse may arise, and it can feel urgent, pressing, or even necessary. The practice is to notice it, name it, and allow it to exist without immediately acting. True desire carries clarity and alignment. It can be observed, reflected upon, and integrated. Compulsive craving is insistent, repetitive, and often disconnected from long-term well-being. Recognizing the difference requires patience, self-honesty, and presence. Through mindful mastery, the energy of Venus and Lilith can be transformed. Impulse becomes insight. Longing becomes guidance. The mind learns to respond with awareness rather than reaction, to act from choice rather than habit. Over time, this discernment cultivates freedom. One can pursue what nourishes the soul while letting go of what merely excites the senses. Desire, when understood, does not control, it informs. Craving, when observed, loses its hold. The balance between the two is quiet, steady, and powerful, a reflection of discipline, presence, and the subtle mastery that comes from knowing oneself deeply. There is a voice within that often goes unheard, the quiet pull of instinct, the subtle whisper of intuition, the urge to express what feels true rather than convenient. This portal awakens that voice, amplifying its call. Suddenly, what was background noise becomes impossible to ignore. Decisions, reactions, and creative impulses carry an inner urgency, urging honesty, authenticity, and presence. Ancient teachings recognize the power of listening to oneself fully. In Shaolin philosophy, mastery is not only the cultivation of strength or skill, but the integration of every aspect of being. The socially acceptable, the disciplined, the outwardly strong, these are only fragments. True alignment comes when we honor all dimensions of self, even those that feel unruly, shadowed, or unconventional. Every impulse has its place, every instinct its lesson, every intuitive nudge its guidance. This alignment challenges the habit of suppression. You may notice impulses to speak, create, or act that feel unconventional, even risky. Lilith and Venus make these impulses more vivid, more pressing, reminding that self-expression is not optional, it is essential. Shaolin practice teaches that presence and awareness give these forces direction without letting them become chaos. Observing the instinct, feeling the intuition, and allowing expression to emerge consciously transforms raw energy into purposeful action. The portal encourages courage, not of the loud or forceful kind, but the quiet courage of authenticity. It asks that you meet yourself fully, honoring the parts that society might label weak, strange, or unacceptable. Discipline here is not denial, but refinement, choosing how to move, when to act, and how to manifest inner truths without losing clarity or balance. Through this practice, intuition becomes a compass, instinct, a guide, and expression, a mirror of inner alignment. The voice within is no longer hidden, it is respected, cultivated, and allowed to shape life with subtle strength, rooted in mindful mastery and steady presence. The intensity of this portal will not last for a while. Like a storm that rises quickly and passes, Venus Trine Lilith brings energy that can overwhelm, exhilarate, or unsettle. But while the force is temporary, the lessons it carries are enduring. The impressions it leaves, the insights, the awakenings, the truths about desire, boundaries, and self-expression linger far beyond the alignment itself. Ancient traditions understood the importance of capturing these fleeting gifts. Shaolin practice emphasizes reflection, movement, and ritual as tools to anchor experience into understanding. Sitting quietly after a surge of energy allows the mind to process, observe, and integrate what was stirred. Breath becomes a guide, guiding attention through what might otherwise slip into forgetfulness. Journaling is another way to solidify insight. Writing transforms scattered thought into clarity, translating instinct and intuition into conscious knowledge. Each word becomes a bridge between the immediate intensity of feeling and the long-term understanding of self. It is a practice in presence, patience, and honest observation, qualities that cultivate mastery over mind and emotion alike. Movement, too, holds power. Deliberate practice, whether martial, meditative, or artistic, channels energy into form, discipline, and expression. The body remembers what the mind may overlook. Flowing through intentional gestures, mindful steps, or simple stretches allows energy to circulate, settle, and integrate, preventing residual tension from creating disturbance or distraction. By combining reflection, writing, and mindful movement, the lessons of this portal become more than a passing experience. They become tools, guides, and markers on the path of mastery. The intensity that once threatened to scatter focus instead deepens clarity, sharpens discernment, and strengthens presence. Fleeting energy transforms into lasting wisdom, and each practice becomes a seed from which greater awareness, discipline, and inner power can grow. When energy rises without direction, it can feel intoxicating. The portal of Venus Trine Lilith magnifies every impulse, every desire, and every hidden pattern. Without self-mastery, it becomes easy to act hastily, to chase fleeting pleasure, or to lash out in ways that later feel regretful. The surge of power can tempt recklessness, pushing the mind and body toward extremes, like a river that breaks its banks when left unchecked. Shaolin philosophy teaches that mastery begins with presence. The first shield against excess is awareness, noticing the surge before reacting, observing impulses before yielding to them. Patience is the second shield, holding space for reflection even when the pull feels urgent. Balance is the third, understanding that life's energy flows best when neither suppressed nor overindulged, but guided with precision and intention. Together, these principles create a foundation strong enough to weather even the most intense alignments. The portal may provoke shadows, anger, jealousy, craving, or compulsion, but these are not punishments. They are mirrors, revealing areas where discipline is incomplete, where boundaries are unclear, or where presence falters. Shaolin practice turns observation into transformation. Each moment of restraint, each pause of reflection, each measured choice strengthens the mind and refines the spirit. Those who navigate the portal with awareness find that impulses no longer control them. Energy that might scatter into chaos can be directed into creation, insight, or purposeful action. Reactions soften into responses, turbulence transforms into clarity. Mastery does not mean absence of desire or intensity, it means meeting it with steady eyes and a calm heart. In this way, the portal becomes a test and a teacher. It exposes what is untrained, challenges what is habitual, and rewards the disciplined. Balance, patience, and awareness are not abstract ideals, they are practical tools, the very shields that turn potential excess into power and raw energy into wisdom. This alignment is not a moment to chase or fear, it is a doorway, a passage that asks you to meet yourself fully. Venus Trine Lilith illuminates shadow and desire, but the true power lies not in indulgence or avoidance, but in calm observation, disciplined presence, and mindful engagement with whatever arises within you. Take these lessons into your daily life. Notice your impulses without surrendering to them. Honor your instincts and intuition, but act with clarity. Reflect, journal, move with intention, and let every surge of energy become a guide rather than a distraction. Each moment of awareness strengthens mastery, turns chaos into insight, and transforms intensity into focused purpose. As the portal passes, its lessons endure. What you learn now about boundaries, desire, and self-expression becomes part of the foundation on which you build inner strength. The energy may be fleeting, but your growth is lasting.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. Embrace the practice of presence, let clarity guide your steps, and allow the lessons of disalignment to deepen your awareness and personal power. Subscribe to Shaolin Soulfire. If you found this guidance valuable, subscribe and continue walking the path of mindful mastery with us.